Hi everyone, we are Team B18 and our project is called Returnable Bites. Before we dive in, think about your last takeaway meal on campus, the plastic box and the cutlery. Where did it all go? Every single day across our 40,000 people NTU campus, thousands of single-use items are thrown away after just one use. That's the problem we want to tackle. Now, we know bring your own culture is important, but for most people, it's just not convenient. We forget our containers, or it just feels troublesome. That's the gap. Returnable Bytes bridges that gap. It's a rentable container system linked to a mobile app, so anyone can easily borrow, use, and return containers across campus. Through this project, we set out to understand people's perceptions, identify barriers, and design a practical, campus-fit solution to make sustainable dining second nature at NTU. Now I'll hand over to Angel.
Thank you, Lucas. Moving on to the literature review. Over the past few years, we have seen a huge rise in single-use plastics. In response, there has been a growing shift towards a circular economy, one that focuses on reusing, repairing, and recycling materials instead of throwing them away. Within this framework, many universities are now introducing initiatives to promote reusable options, especially when it comes to food packaging. To illustrate this, we have two case studies. Our first case study looks at the National University of Singapore. Between 2021 and 2024, NUS saw a sharp increase of 73% in campus waste, and takeaway disposables made up about 13% of that. To tackle this, NUS Safe has launched Project Box and Project Tumbler. Here, students get a 60-cent discount when they bring their own cup, or have to pay a fee of 20 cents for a disposable one. This small initiative aims to reduce single-use waste and encourage more sustainable daily habits on campus. Internationally, we can also look at Oregon State University's Eco2Go program. It provides reusable takeout containers to reduce single-use packaging waste, with consistently high return rates of 90 to 93%. This program also helped to cut more than 60 tons of waste across just 3 dining halls. Overall, reusable container systems bring benefits across social, economic, and environmental aspects. Socially, they build a visible culture of sustainability. As Dr. Amy Kaur said, peer-to-peer influence is the most effective. When people see their peers bringing their own containers, it normalizes the habit, creating a kind of positive peer pressure that encourages others to do the same. Hence, this strengthens a sense of shared responsibility on campus, while leveraging on behavioral nudges to drive tangible impacts. Next, economically, they help to cut recurring costs from single-use packaging, with larger impacts over time. Lastly, environmentally, modern lifestyles has contributed to a rise in takeaway consumption. Hence, reusable systems directly reduce this single-use waste. To illustrate, Project Box and Tumbler has saved more than 23,000 boxes and 11,000 cups. Together, these examples highlight how small actions can come together to make a large, tangible impact on environmental sustainability. However, while these initiatives have been promising, there are still a few limitations to consider. First, sustainability over time. Participation needs to be consistent. It is easy to get high engagement at the start, but keeping that momentum long-term can be challenging. Next, there are also operational issues, such as ensuring containers are returned, keeping them hygienic, and making collection points convenient and accessible. Lastly, there is also a need for institutional support. For these programs to last, they can't just be short-term campaigns. Instead, they need to be integrated into the university's long-term systems and policies. Next, passing the time to Yikai.
Our strategy was shaped by the COM-B behavior model to ensure that our solution effectively addresses the problem at hand. Capability. A student should be able to use reusable containers with the same or just slightly more steps than it takes to use a disposable takeaway box. The opportunity. The campus environment must facilitate the easy return of boxes, making it the most accessible option for students as they move around the campus. Motivation. Students need to recognize the immediate personal and environmental benefits of opting for the reusable containers. All these together shape the behaviors of our target users towards adopting our approach. In our research, we implemented 3 distinct data collection methods. Firstly, the online survey. We conducted a survey with approximately 30 participants, including both students and faculty, to gather insights on their perceptions of takeaway and reusable containers at NTU. Secondly, site visits. We assess various food outlet locations at NTU during both peak and non-peak hours, examining queue lengths, tray return layouts, and identifying potential areas for kiosks. Thirdly, we found secondary sources which were reviewed literature across three key areas: institutional policy targets, case programs, as well as life cycle assessment literature. And that finally brings us to our solution, returnable bites. Let's dive into how the returnable bite system works. First, you need to use the app to view available containers. This step is all about convenience, making it easy for everyone to participate. Next, simply bring a scan to borrow a container. It's as straightforward as it sounds. The goal here is to ensure quick and seamless access. Finally, when you're done, return the container at any RB station. This flexibility is designed to fit seamlessly into your daily routine. Remember, the user experience is key. Each step is crafted to be intuitive and efficient, encouraging more people to join and sustain the effort. Su-Ying will now go on more about the impacts of our solution.
Thank you, Yikai. Beyond its practicality, Project Returnable Bites creates value across multiple dimensions, reducing environmental impact, offering economic efficiency, and shaping social behavior. From an environmental standpoint, reusable containers made of polypropylene use more materials initially, 31.8 grams compared to 7.8 grams for disposable styrofoam. But after around 20 uses, the environmental benefits start to outweigh the costs. A similar initiative conducted in Chalmers University showed reductions of up to 59% in climate change impact, 63% in non-renewable energy use, and 55% in photochemical oxidant formation compared to single-use systems. When scaled to NTU's population of about 45,000, even a 10% participation rate with around 4,500 users would replace roughly 45,000 takeaway boxes each year if each user were to use returnable bites at least 10 times. This contributes directly to Singapore's circular economy goals and aligns with SDGs 12 and 13 on sustainable consumption and climate change. Economically, Project Returnable Bites is a cost-effective and inclusive measure. Unlike bringing your own container, which costs around $7, or paying 30 cents for every takeaway, Returnable Bites is completely free to use. Users only pay a small penalty for late returns. By bulk purchasing containers, we also achieve economies of scale, further reducing operational costs. Socially, convenience is key. Returnable bite stations will be placed in high traffic areas like hall canteens, so it's as easy as grabbing a disposable box. With central washing, users don't need to clean their own containers. They just drop them off. We also run a marketing campaign to normalize this behavior, so reusing becomes second nature among students. Our pilot will launch at North and South Spine canteens, each equipped with 50 containers and one returnable bite station. The app will handle user registration, deposits, and tracking. This controlled pilot lets us collect data before expanding across campus. Now on to you, Sarah.
Thank you, Swing. For our survey, we asked a range of questions to understand how NTU students and staff actually interact with food on campus, from dining habits to awareness of sustainable practices and their willingness to change. Out of all the questions, two patterns stood out most strongly. First, takeaway culture dominates. About 84.6% of respondents order takeouts, while only 15.4% prefer dining in. That means, if we want to reduce disposable waste, our main opportunity lies in takeaway practices. That's where most of the packaging waste is generated. We also wanted to understand how proactive people currently are with reusables. Using the Net Promoter Score (NPS) framework, we found that only 12.5% of respondents are promoters, meaning they actively bring their own containers, 4.2% are neutral, doing so occasionally, and a large 83.3% are detractors, meaning they rarely or never bring one. So while some individuals are already leading by example, the majority still find it inconvenient or simply forget. This suggests that for a system like returnable bites to work, It can't just rely on personal motivation. It has to make sustainable behavior the easiest and most convenient choice on campus. We also asked a broader set of questions about what might stop people from using a reusable container system. While responses varied, four main barriers consistently emerged. The top concern cited by 33% of respondents was cleanliness. Many were unsure if containers would be properly washed or sanitized, which tells us that a reliable cleaning process is key to building trust. This could mean centralized washing stations or clear hygiene labeling for every return. The second major issue was forgetting to return containers at 28%, which points to the need for an accountability mechanism like a QR code system that reminds users or links usage to their accounts. Next, 20% mentioned cost, so deposits must be low and affordable. And 19% had dietary or cultural concerns, reminding us that container designs must accommodate different cuisines and allergens. Altogether, while we received many other smaller comments, these four were the most recurring. They provide practical guidance for our next phase, designing a system that people not only believe in, but genuinely want to use. I will now pass the time to Lucas to conclude our presentation.
To conclude, through our research, we found that takeaway culture is deeply rooted in NTU life, and without convenience or incentives, bring your own culture simply doesn't take off. That's why returnable bites matters. It offers the same convenience as disposables, but with sustainability built in. If washing, tracking, and returns are well managed, it truly bridges the gap. We recommend piloting the system in high-traffic canteens, gathering user feedback, and running recurring bring-your-own days to keep the culture alive. Of course, we recognize our limits. This was a small-scale study without a full trial yet, but it lays a strong foundation for the next phase. Returnable bites isn't just about reusable containers. It's about changing habits, shaping a greener campus, and proving that convenience and sustainability can go hand in hand. Thank you.